person again after 2 years of wandering in the wilds of Teams and Zoom, the phenomenon we've all come to know and, well, maybe love is not the exact word that would be appropriate here, but it's phenomenal. I think that being in person is special, that human connectivity matters, and especially for something so powerful to celebrate, which is the amazing work as leaders in government that you all are doing. This is one of my favorite events to do. I will say that the tag team for me is always Sandy's and Best Places. I see them as very, very related. I hope you all are familiar with the Service to America Medal, where we recognize extraordinary innovators in government, and this is about recognizing extraordinary organizational achievement. And so you will note throughout the program that we have many Sammy's honorees here. Not surprising that great organizations are creating opportunities for great people to thrive and produce for the American public. We live obviously in a time of great challenge in our country. I believe we have one tool for collective action to address our biggest problems, the only one that has the premature of the public and taxpayer resources behind it, which is our federal government. And this is fundamental to our success as a nation, the work that you are doing to create organizations that enable great people to perform at their very best on behalf of the American public. The Best Places to Work rankings offers the most comprehensive assessment of employee engagement and satisfaction across the federal workforce. And in 2021, this includes the highest number of organizational components that we've ever been able to do, 503 agencies and subcomponents across government. It is great to see all the top-ranked agencies, all of you here together, and it is far exceeded the 2021 government-wide Best Places to Work Employee Engagement Satisfaction Score. This year, you all were able to exceed the private sector benchmark that we'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. Overall, however, I will share the not-so-good news across the government, which is that we did see a drop of 4.5 points. Which is the largest drop in the history of the rankings. We're going to share more about the details of that. My colleague Lauren, our extraordinary VP for Research, will go through more of the details in a bit. I want to take a moment to thank some of the critical partners in making this happen, in particular the Boston Consulting Group, BCG, for their longtime support and commitment to this program. They are an amazing organization that, I will admit, sets the bar in the private sector for best places to work, again and again. I also want to thank OPM's Kim Wells and her survey team, and David Pedrino and his team. There we go. Good round of applause. So this work plainly is based on the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey, and could not happen without the extraordinary year-round work that the OPM team does, and they've been really exceptional partners to us, and we really appreciate it. As many of you know, the partnership is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization whose mission is to build a better government and a stronger democracy. Our work includes things like the Service to America medals. More recently, we've been doing work around trust in government. Part of our fundamental view is that a healthy democracy requires a public that trusts its most important public institutions, and that's a place that we need to understand better and work better. Again, here the news, as we probably all know, is not so good. That only 4 in 10 of Americans surveyed by us at least somewhat trusted the government to do what's right. Since today is a celebration, I'm not going to focus on the challenges that we saw in the work that we're doing, but focus more on some of the opportunities, which are, I think, pretty powerful. So, for example, when asked about non-elected career federal employees, the public had a favorable view of 12 out of 13 well-known federal agencies, with the National Park Service praised most often. A majority of respondents also agree that federal employees are competent, hard workers who do important public service and improve their communities. So what we found that the key to changing perceptions and increasing trust is to get more people to understand the differentiation between political appointees and career appointees. Many Americans, when you say federal government, think about bluntly the political appointee and not the career employee who frankly may be a neighbor. Equally important was to make sure that the stories of our government are shared. So not enough Americans understand the specific things that are happening in their communities that are helping them. The invisible, making the invisible visible, is a powerful way of changing perception, and again, in our view, very related to the work that we're doing around the Service to America medals. So as an organization, we also believe we need to invest in government's capacity and increase its impact. And one of the ways we do that, frankly, is by helping build a more diverse workforce, improving customer experience, and recruiting a younger, tech-savvy generation of public servants. As many of you all probably experience and know, only actually slightly less than 7% of the federal workforce is under the age of 30, and that number drops down to 3% when you look at the tech cohort, not where we need to be. We also need to equip federal leaders with resources and insights to be better stewards of vital public resources. I hope you all are familiar with the partnership's Public Service Leadership Institute and our public leadership model, which is really an effort to try to create a common standard and expectation about what good leadership looks like in government. And it's based on the notion that what is special about being a leader in government is the focus on being a steward of the public good, which we think is powerful in terms of impact and powerful for the individual. All of us have a role to play in making this work. We really admire and appreciate the contributions that this group as a whole is making, and we hope to be there to support you. And we encourage you to share your successes. I mean, one of the great challenges that we see is that pretty much everything that should be happening in government is happening somewhere, but oftentimes just unknown to everybody else. So sharing the good work you're doing to us is fundamental to the success for everybody. I also want to thank my colleagues at the Partnership for Public Service. I work with some amazing, amazing people. I hope you'll get a chance to talk to them here at this breakfast. It's now my great pleasure to turn the program over to my colleague Lauren, who is, as I mentioned earlier, an amazing researcher and public servant herself, and she'll tell us all about it today.